I have a challenge for all of you. I'm roughly in exactly the same spot as I ended off last episode, so I want you to go back to that video, come back over here, and try and spot the differences between this week and last week. And if you don't want to do that, I'm gonna spoil them anyway, so let's get right into it. So I've been busy in between episodes. First of all, this whole walkway over here and the area in front of the storage and a little bit around it all has been textured, so it's not just a plain cobblestone as it was before, but it has now stone bricks, it has no just normal stone, and it's completely lit up with carpets and sea lanterns. And this is for this whole area, so this whole area around the storage, it was a massive task, but we've done it. I've got some help from llorrdnnight, who's working on the bank, and speaking of llorrdnnight, he asked me if I could do another tree, so that is exactly what I did. We've got another tree in front of the bank. And there are all the changes that happened in between episodes, so now it's time for the topic of this week's episode, which is gonna be a pub. In a distant past, when Dawnport was still a small harbour town, the townsfolk got a request to build a new ship. So, after a month of preparing the materials needed to build said ship, and after clearing an old warehouse and converting it into a shipyard, construction started. Everything started off just fine. The ship was coming along nicely, and the ship's hull was almost finished in no time. But then, disaster struck. Not one, but two events made sure that the ship would never be finished. The first disaster hit in the first winter after the construction had started. An epidemic plagued the lands, harvests failed, and the townsfolk became very sick. Shortly after, the town was on the brink of extinction when a traveling family coincidentally happened upon the town and helped cure the ill. With the help of this family and the medicine they brought along from faraway lands, the town was saved. The townsfolk asked the family to settle in their village, which the humble family, now adored as heroes, accepted, and thus the noble house of Leicester was born. Construction on the ship started again, embellishments were added, carvers worked their magic, and the hull was looking astonishing when the second disaster hit. During the biggest thunderstorm the town had ever seen, a lightning bolt struck down from the heavens and landed on the shipyard. And the townsfolk rushed out with every bucket and container they had to extinguish it. After a long night of running up and down to the ocean to get water, the fire was put out, but the damage was too severe. The whole shipyard was burned to the ground, several people got wounded or burnt. However, the ship was miraculously saved from any huge burns. Yes, there were a couple of spots here and there where the fire had left a mark, but nothing too major. The village, now hit by two disasters, condemned the ship as cursed and stopped any work on it immediately. And there it laid, in the ruins of a shipyard it was built on, until time had made the townsfolk forget about the disasters. The ship was neglected, and ghost stories started to rumor around town. Eventually, the ground was set up for auction, and due to these rumors, no one dared to bid on the property. No one except Doric Leicester. He heard stories from his elders, fairy tales, almost legends, about the ship and swore to save it. With a stupendously big bid, he got hold of the property and oversaw some renovations. You see, Doric Leicester had a plan. He had a vision on how to make sure the ship would still exist even after his death. He turned it into the only thing a civilization really needs, a pub. He named the ship the Maiden Voyage, referring to both his first adventure in the business world as well as the first time that the ship was actually used. Immediately after it opened, its success did not know any bounds. The pub got expanded and expanded again until it reached the size that it is today. Still open almost 100 years later. Doric Leicester got his wish. The ship still stands and will keep standing for a very, very long time. I hope you liked that little segment of lore. It took a very long time, and I've got to say, I'm terrible with time management. I'm leaving for summer camp in a couple of days, so I'm pre-recording videos. I've got to make more videos in a shorter amount of time, and then I choose to do something like this that takes longer than a normal episode of Vasten. I don't know why I do it, but it's cool. So, yeah. This is gonna be the end of the episode. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and all the good stuff. If you want to see more of these lore segments, they take a lot longer to make, but they're quite fun and quite interesting, and they add a lot to the world. So if you want to see more of that, let me know in the comments down below as well. But anyway, I'll see you in the next video. I've got a couple more to record before I leave, so I gotta hurry. Bye.